Brandon Cutler here from AEW, and I hope you guys have an awesome podcast with the MonsterCast.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful here. You're watching the MonsterCast with Jack and Ryan. A big shout out to those fellas. Good people. Check them out.
Here's your hosts of the MonsterCast, the Straight Edge Monster Jack and Ryan.
We started out with Ricky Starks and Jericho, and I remember messaging you, thank God we're getting this match out of the way first, because this was my least favorite match going into it. It actually ended up being a really good match, right? Like 3.5 or something like that. I don't know. I haven't really done my stars for all of them yet. But yeah, I really liked that match, and I felt like that really set the tone for how good this pay-per-view was going to be. Like, out the gate, the least interested match I was in, like that I was invested in, actually turned out pretty good, and I was invested in it by the end of it. Now, the only part that I didn't like was, why the fuck did Sammy Guevara still come out when JAS was banned from ringside?
To give Action Andretti something to do?
It was stupid. Why even have the rule?
Because if he had made it to ringside, it just would have been a DQ anyway. So yeah, I didn't like that. It didn't make any sense.
But other than that, like, if you literally take that one moment out of it, that match is really fucking good. Turned out to be really good. What was next? I don't know if it was Christian and Jungle Boy or not.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so Christian and Jungle Boy, and that match ended up being really good. And by the way, just so everybody knows, prediction records have been updated for us, and I went 9-0 on Revolution, and Ryan went 7-2, and that's because we both changed our Jungle Boy picks to Jungle Boy once we found out the change to the match was No Holds Barred, or whatever the hell it was, to Final Burial match, which is really Buried Alive match or whatever it was.
Yeah.
By the way, when we were messaging back and forth about that match, we were like, what the fuck is the point with the dirt still? And they're not doing nothing with the dirt because there's a big ass hole with the casket up in the air. I'm sitting there like, what? But when he closed it and it went down from the Cody Vader, dude, that was sick. I actually like that a lot. That was pretty cool looking. So I gave it a pass because I was like, at first I was like, who the fuck's gonna throw dirt on this? This doesn't make any sense. It's literally out of the ground on a casket. They were like trying to mix the casket match with a Buried Alive match, and it wasn't working. And then as soon as he closed it and it went down, I thought that was cool as fuck. Very cool. Looked cool on TV anyway.
Yeah, I thought it came off really well. The at first when it fell, I was like, oh fuck, like did something go wrong? Like was it on supports and then it fell through or whatever? Then I was like, no, that had to be on purpose with the little puff of smoke at the end and all that shit. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool too. I thought it was a good way to introduce some finality to their feud. Yeah, it did make me wonder though if that was on a trigger that somebody else is controlling backstage, or if it was controlled by the lid closing, because obviously the lid never reclosed at any point after they opened it the first time. But it had to be somebody doing like a pull switch or something.
I think it had to be a pull switch too, because when he tried to get Jungle Boy, that could have went really wrong if it would have recognized that it was going down or whatever.
If
and he's trying to close it and then Jungle Boy just falls. That shit would have been so funny, dude. Oh my gosh. That would have been Shockmaster worthy, I think. That would have been like one of the biggest fuck ups. Like they would have like somebody hit the House of Black Lights until we get this bitch back up. Like what happened? Oh shit! It's Bray Wyatt.
He's back. It never closed all the way. Yeah, that was a good match though. I liked it. I think that the not having it be like there weren't like wrestling moves or anything. Like it was just straight up like, okay, I'm gonna fight you. We're gonna fight, and I'm gonna put you in a casket. I like the funny thing to me was when Christian goes to open the casket, there's just chairs in there. Who the fuck put the chairs in there? Who just filled up the casket with chairs? It made no sense. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it came off pretty well on TV and everything. So House of Black and the Elite.
Oh yeah, well we can talk about that more in depth, but you guys understand that shit was so entertaining. There was so many fucking spots in that match where I was like, nope, fuck that, wouldn't do that, not taking that. That was fucking crazy. The way they started out with Buddy and Kenny Omega, I was already standing up. I literally stood up, dude. I was like, okay, I gotta watch this. They're starting off with the two dudes that I want to see fucking go at it, because everybody's been talking about Buddy adopting more of a Kenny Omega style in his later WWE run before he got let go. And then he comes in there.
Said it on commentary.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? That they even mentioned it on commentary. Way to acknowledge other things outside of your company. Shocking. But anyway, so one of my favorite spots obviously is the fucking Buddy Murphy knee to fucking Matt Jackson or Nick Jackson, one of them. That shit was nuts.
I like the idea of it, but it felt like he was too far away for it to make sense. Like the driver part was too far back in the ring, so when he did the jump, he only jumps like 2 feet, and then he gets caught with a knee, but he's still like 5 feet away from finishing the move. So I didn't like that part of it. I feel like he could have been closer. But
when you're a high flyer and you're a really good high flyer, there is a such thing as you can change your body shit in midair. We used to see Rob Van Dam do it all the time, by the way.
Yeah, but then why would you change to be hit by the knee instead of jumping over it?
Well, it's like it wasn't like he was going to jump over the knee.
Yes, he could have from as far away as he was.
He would have got kicked in the nuts.
It just looked visually wrong. It was too far away.
I don't think so. I think it looked visually devastating. It was fucking awesome.
I thought no, the knee looked great. It was just the placement was a little bit off. So yeah, the next one was the women's trios, which is probably like the
You didn't like it? I liked it.
Match.
I thought it turned out way better than we thought it was going to be.
It was better than I thought it was going to be, but it's still probably the worst match on the card.
What did you think of Ruby's heel turn at the end? I mean, it made sense, but it didn't make sense. Does that make sense?
It did. Yeah, that was my problem with it. Was it didn't make sense. Like,
my problem was that she should have joined them the entire time because she obviously wasn't an original, right? She just came in at a fucking Casino Battle Royal in 2021, 2022, whatever it was.
I did think that her promo on Dynamite was probably one of the better.
Yes. Oh, let's go. Let's talk about it. That was the. Promos. Not only was it the best, it was the best because it was accurate.
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome. Give her the mic more often, dude. Piss her off and give her the mic. Somebody slap her in the face and then send her out there with a live mic.
A lot of those,
great.
A lot of those, like I blame you people. It's the fans' fault. They come off really fucking stupid.
Yeah, because the fans were behind you the whole time and you had no reason to turn. Yeah, but this time,
one,
yes.
This one did work. I liked it. So even though at the time of the match when the turn happened, I was just like, oh, come the fuck on, this is so boring. After the promo on Wednesday, I was like, you know what? That makes enough sense to where, in retrospect, I'm okay with the turn at the end of the other match.
That promo, and now they have somebody that can talk for the other two as well.
Oh, you're saying Saraya's not a good promo?
She's okay when she gets angry like Ruby did, but no, with that shit where she has literally nothing and goes out there and like her first promo, no. She's one of those people like Ruby that has to have like something real life to attach onto and get mad about something in real life to bring it up. Other than that, no, I've never thought Saraya was a great promo or anything.
All right,
what's next?
Next was Moxley and Paige.
All right, so Moxley and Paige, which is obviously the match that a lot of people either loved or, oh, I can't watch it. Oh my God, there's blood coming out of his forehead. I've never seen shit like this before. 1996 ECW, FMW, Terry Funk, Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody. What the fuck are you talking about? You've never seen it before. You've never seen GCW, which has been around longer than fucking AEW even.
No. But those people don't watch those things. That's the whole point.
Come on,
you think the people that are saying that watched old ECW or watched GC? Of course they don't.
They're also the ones that are praising Terry Funk every time his name comes out, like they fucking know who he is. Like clearly you don't even know who the fuck what Terry Funk was about.
It's the same people whose favorite picture of Eddie is the one where he's busted the fuck open from the JBL match. But they're like, oh yeah, you know, it's different. He didn't do it all the time. It was a one-time thing.
Macho Manny, are you guys surprised that Paige won? Well, I'm not, because I picked them to win. I went 9-0. So no, I'm not surprised he won. I picked him.
I was only surprised because I thought that if they're gonna tell the Young Bucks Hangman reunion story, that it would have made sense for both of them to lose. But I mean, this was one where it could have gone either way, and it still would have made sense. And even now, it still kind of makes sense because now it's the Young Bucks crawling to Hangman, who is currently on a better run than they are and more successful than they are, I guess, in a way. He's the one that came out on top of his feud, and the Young Bucks didn't. So it kind of makes sense, I guess. I don't know. It could have gone either way. I'm not surprised, but it's not who I picked. It's not where I thought they were going.
All right, so coming out of that match, obviously, since we're talking about it, and casual fans discuss the side because they don't know what the term variety wrestling means ever since the very first podium fucking press conference of the AEW in 2019. Let me ask you this. Are you excited for heel BCC?
Yes, but I don't know where that leaves
Danielson?
Danielson, yeah. I think Wardlow was next, right? Wardlow
Okay,
and
speaking
Joe.
of Wardlow, I'm rocking the Samoa Joe shirt because I don't have a Powerhouse Hobbs or Wardlow shirt, and this is now a vintage TNT champion shirt because it's already been lost twice between Samoa Joe dropping it to Wardlow, which we picked, and then of course Wardlow dropped it to Hobbs on Dynamite, and who knew that QT Marshall would be one of my top 5 favorite Twitter accounts in 2023, yet here we are. Didn't have that on my bingo card, but I am very hyped that he destroyed Raj on Twitter.
You used to
hyped.
talk so much shit to me when I used to praise QT Marshall on this show, and I called him quality television Marshall. You thought I was joking, but that man's good.
I don't
He's good
ever
at what he
recall
does.
this ever happening.
Okay, it was a while ago because he hasn't been around for a while, but I was putting him over, and you were like,
You fucking
nah, I don't like him. He's boring. All the factory stuff, whatever. It's like, yeah, I don't like the factory stuff either, but I like QT.
Okay. Anyway, so I think the thing. I mean, I've never had an issue with QT. I just didn't think he was going to be one of my favorite. I mean, up there with Nyla Rose and RJ City Twitter accounts. No, no, I was not putting QT Marshall up there. But now he is.
Television, baby.
He killed Raj on Twitter for this whole fucking storyline because Raj apparently doesn't watch those long storylines that we were mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
Because when Willie Hobbs, as Jim Ross likes to call him, when he had the feud with Ricky Starks coming out of the turn on Ricky Starks, QT Marshall kept going to him to join the factory, and he wouldn't do it. And then apparently they had worked out some deal where he was going to have his back or whatever. Well, guess what? This is when he had his back. Everybody was acting like, man, why did they just drop that storyline? Because y'all kept acting like nobody cared about it. And then you find out that they didn't really drop it. They were just waiting for the right time to pull the trigger on the fruits of their labor for the storyline, I guess is the best way I could put it. But now we're going to get an explanation, and Raj, you too, because you haven't been paying attention, of who actually broke into Wardlow's car, which we would assume is the factory, just to rattle Wardlow to the point where he would drop the title to Hobbs anyway. And then, of course, it was a no-holds-barred match or whatever the hell it was because Wardlow was goaded into being so pissed off that, Falls Count Anywhere. So they baited him into that because he was so pissed off about losing his title and his car getting broken into. And that's exactly what they wanted to happen so that QT could interfere and take the title off of him. So a lot of people have an issue with TNT title being hot potatoed. I've said on this show many times, the TNT title and the Trios titles are the two titles that I have zero issue with being hot potatoed. Zero. That's literally what they're for. The TNT title is an open challenge title fucking belt for the most part, and it's supposed to be the biggest depth of competition within that division because they're all on the same level type deal. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense why Samoa Joe could drop it to Wardlow and then Wardlow could drop it right back to fucking Hobbs, and it would make perfect sense if fucking Hobbs dropped it right back to Wardlow in a couple of weeks. I would have zero issue with it. I'm fine with that title being a hot potato title because it's going to be defended most Wednesday nights or Friday nights because it is the television title and that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for Hobbs, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I was glad to see him win. I think that the match itself that was actually on the card, the Wardlow versus Samoa Joe match, wasn't surprised at all with the outcome. I don't think you could have Wardlow lose here and it not kill him for a very long time.
Did you like the finish? I thought the finish made Wardlow look badass. I think that helped him.
Oh yeah, the rear naked choke. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was all good. This match coming right after the match that it came after hurt it a little bit for sure. Crowd seemed a little bit flat at the start, but they picked up for it in the second half and it turned out pretty good. So
cool. Next up,
the tag match was next.
All right, so the tag match, which I said I was actually looking forward to, which I felt like I was one of the very few that was, and it ended up being just as entertaining as I thought it was going to be. The only thing I wish that they would have had, because my friend, like I said, Belly Nash, he was at my party. I really wanted Orange Cassidy to do the kick thing. He never got a chance to do the kicks, but I tried to explain to him in a very fast fashion what Orange Cassidy is, and the only thing I could think of was he doesn't care until he has to. And that's all I could tell him, because when he put his hands in his pockets, I was like, yeah, he's doing that on purpose, just so you know. So it was funny as hell, him and trying to explain Danhausen and Orange Cassidy to him. I thought that was hilarious. I thought the Guns was obviously the right choice, like I said, because I went 9-0. So I got everything right. So obviously I'm okay with everybody's outcome. Ryan changed it to Gun Club as well after I explained my point, so he got it right as well. And what we said happened, right? FTR came back. That was the big return. There was no Jay White. There was no Mercedes Moné. There was no CM Punk, CM FTR. It was FTR, which was cool with me because with how much shit that you just realized that you watched by the time that pay-per-view was over, there wasn't really nowhere to bring any of those people onto that show, honestly.
The one thing I didn't like in this match was you had Satnam Singh come in and blatantly interfere. You had Sanjay come in and try to blatantly interfere. And then when I think it was Max Caster. I think Max Caster had picked up the fucking guitar and was about to hit Jarrett with it, and Aubrey stops him. And I'm like, it's fucking no DQ. You've let all this other stuff go on because it's no DQ. Why are you stopping him from hitting him with a fucking guitar? I didn't like that. I thought that was weird. Other than that, though, I thought pretty much what we ended up discussing on the prediction show happened.
I don't have a huge problem with the Aubrey thing, only because Jeff kept pushing her around, so then she was like, well, fuck it then. It's no DQ. Aubrey can do whatever she wants. If we're being real. Aubrey could have kicked him in the fucking nuts like PWG event. It's no DQ. So I don't really have an issue with her. I don't have an issue with her stopping him because he was already provoking her throughout the entire match.
No. She stopped Max Caster from hitting Jarrett
gotcha.
with a guitar. Like, the crowd booed her for it. And I was like, why the fuck are you stopping it? It didn't make any sense.
Okay, well, I misremember then. I thought she took it from Jarrett. But let's go to the next one. That next one is what? The main event?
Yeah, as MJF Brand.
All right, so I don't think it's living in the heat of the moment to say that this was the best Iron Man match of all time. Do you?
No. I mean, there might be a couple I'd go back and rewatch to make sure, but the one thing I will say about this one versus the other ones is that even when we were talking about this, we were like, oh yeah, you know, in Iron Man matches, there's typically like some lull periods, some parts where it drags, like where it's slow, whatever. There was none of that in this one. There was always something going on. And you can credit that to them always selling something even when they weren't near each other. There was always like a count out happening if they weren't around each other. There was always the count down if one of them was like laid out. But there was always something happening even for the break periods. Like it was pretty much nonstop from bell to bell.
And we can both agree that they are harder to do on a pay-per-view than they are on TV. So like Brock and Kurt, I can't because I wasn't there live like Will Washington was. So Will Washington has that as his number 1 or number 2 or whatever, right? Because he was there live. He got to see it from beginning to end. But commercial breaks completely kill a fucking Iron Man match to me. So that can't be in my top spot, right? Brett and Shawn apparently get tons of hate these days because of theirs at WrestleMania 12. They only had a couple to go off of, and the other ones that they went off of was Brett versus Ric Flair and Brett versus Owen in fucking like house show type deals. Whereas this is a completely different animal for Brett and Shawn at WrestleMania because one, it's on the grandest stage of them all, right? So that's a big fucking deal. You're basically the two people that are carrying the company, and you're both the baby faces. So it's a completely different dynamic than a Brett versus a heel Ric Flair or a Brett versus a heel Owen Hart because you can't do the same type of shit because the fans are going for both of you. So yeah. I kind of think it's unfair to judge that one so bad because nothing happened until the last 5 minutes and then the overtime or whatever. I still think that match is really good, and I think it's actually now more underrated than overrated because all these people coming out and hating on the match. Like, I don't think it's not my number 1, but I do think it's getting a lot more hate than it should be. Based off of when it happened, what happened before it, the first time ever of babyface versus a babyface in that type of situation. I think they get a lot of unfair flack. Now, if that was the same match and Brett was the heel or Shawn was the heel, yeah, okay, then that's overrated as fuck. But there's a huge balance you have to do towing the line of two baby faces for an hour. You can't do any back rake. You can't do any eye gouge. You can't do no low blow. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's off the table that's not in the Owen Hart or the Ric Flair match.
I'm glad that somebody finally did the spot that I've been saying that people should do in these matches forever. Every time there's ever been a 2 out of 3 falls match, or every time there's ever been an Iron Man match, or any match where it's like counting pinfalls, I've always said they should just get themselves DQ'd, like hurting the other guy really bad, and then get multiple fucking pinfalls off of it. They finally did it on this one. With the,
well, I mean, that's why the Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle one stands out to everybody, is because that's what happened in that match. Mm-hmm. But I think that this one was used better because MJF wasn't going to do it until he realized he was down one fall. Then he fucking did it, and then he tied it back up, and I thought that was great. I thought that was a very smart thing to do, and I think that made more sense than Kurt Angle just going out there, getting a chair, and then getting disqualified twice, but then getting like 4 pins or whatever. I'm saying, like, what? You're not even going to try to wrestle this motherfucker at least first? You've been talking all this shit leading up to this match, right? But yeah, I think the way that they implemented that into this match made more sense. And then, of course, in the Rock and Triple H match, they just threw every fucking thing that they possibly could. They literally looked at the Brett and Shawn match and said, okay, nothing happened in that match. We're going to fucking do everything in this match. And I think that's why a lot of people have that near the top of their list as well. But for me, MJF versus Bryan Danielson, as far as a 60-minute Iron Man match, is my number one. And then I'm not even joking, I'm probably putting Sasha and Bayley in my top 3, if not number 2 as well.
You know what doesn't make any sense to me is that there's no way in storyline that Tony Khan didn't already have some sort of rule in place for hey, just in case you guys are tied up at the end of it, we're gonna blah blah blah. There's no fucking way. So why does the match end tied and then Tony Schiavone has to come down and say, we're gonna have a sudden death now? Technically, there's no way there wasn't already a rule about this. There's no way he didn't already tell everybody, and there's no way that MJF tapping out after the 60-minute mark shouldn't have just been another tap out and he wins, because it would have immediately gone into sudden death. I didn't like.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Convoluted.
I agree with that. And here's the thing: is I will agree with you on the point that if that was on TV, then you should be able to tie. But if it's on a pay-per-view in the main event for the main title or any title, it should never end in a tie. So that shouldn't even be on the table. I completely agree. In fact, why don't you just say after 60 minutes is up, if it's fucking still tied, we're just gonna go. Just keep going. Don't even ring the bell or nothing. Just keep going until somebody gets it. Like, why even stop and reset at that point? Now, obviously, they did it for dramatic effect to get the fans really fucking riled up when they see, because they were all chanting bullshit, bullshit. You know damn well Tony Khan is not fucking having that great of a pay-per-view and about to end us all with that bullshit. So when Tony starts walking down to the ring and people start noticing that he's walking down, because we already knew because we heard him on the thing talking about something, I'm getting something from the back or whatever. So when he starts marching down to the ring and everybody starts noticing him, did you hear the fucking crowd? That's why Tony Khan set it up that way. But, you know, as far as kayfabe logic sense, yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. It seemed very contrived, but it was fine. I get why they did it. It just, it was a little weird.
Okay, so overall grade for the pay-per-view then, I should say.
Like A scale or number scale?
Oh, we do hype levels is 1 through 10, and then pay-per-view levels when the review is grade scale. So what grade would you give this?
It's probably like it was. I mean, every match was good. I wasn't crazy about the women's match, but it wasn't bad. That's probably like an A+. I think it's hard to give anything other than A+.
It was okay. So you were like, if you were doing a star thing, what, 2.75, 3 for that?
Probably like a 3, yeah. Like, it wasn't a bad match.
When you're saying it's not good, but it's not bad, it's not like to the point where we're coming on to this show and that's all we're talking about, how bad that match was. Like we were with the Mountain Dew Pitch Black. Like, it wasn't a black spot on the pay-per-view. So for that reason and for all the other reasons that we talked about, I'm actually giving this an A+. A+. Like, I think this is their number 1 or 2 best pay-per-view of all time.
Yeah,
I think Revolution 2021 is still that fucking pay-per-view.
You can't beat that tag match. That's the problem. The tag match had so much going on. But yeah, like start to finish, this match had no misses at all. Had some really great matches. Had 3 like standout, really good matches. And the worst you could say about any of the matches on the card was that it was pretty good.
Was it All Out 2021 as well? When Cole and Danielson both came back.
Dude,
when they both debuted, Minoru Suzuki came out to challenge Moxley after his match with Kojima. Ruby Soho debuted in the Casino Rumble and won. The cage match between the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros, that's up there too. I've got to put that up there too. So like, this is definitely top 3, but I'd have to split hairs to see where I really want it. But right now, without going back and watching those two in full, I'm thinking I'm putting this probably second. I got to remember what else is on that tag team, the Revolution match with Hangman and Omega versus the Young Bucks. What else was on that one? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head because it just
I can't remember. Obviously, that was the best match of the year.
Watched like 3 or 4 times. So
yeah, obviously, yeah. You can just go to that match. That's what I'm saying. All Out 2021 might be the one that's actually really going against Revolution 2023 instead of Revolution 2021 or whatever it was when the tag team match happened.
Revolution 2021 was that's weird. On the pre-show they had Britt Baker and Maki Ito versus Rio and Thunder
Oh
Rosa.
yeah, that's when Maki Ito came out and everybody went fucking nuts. Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy too.
All right. So Young Bucks beat Inner Circle. Phoenix won the Casino Tag Royale for his team. Shida versus Ryo Mizunami for the World Championship.
Yeah, that's the one that everybody thought Shida was going to finally lose, and then they had a fucking insane match, and Shida ended up winning it.
Kip Sabian and Miro versus Best Friends. Adam Page versus Matt Hardy. Scorpio Sky won the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Darby Allin and Sting beat Team Taz. That wasn't the cinematic one, was it?
I'm trying to remember. I think that might have been a cinematic one.
And then Omega versus Moxley at the end in the exploding barbed wire.
Okay, so it had to be 2020 Revolution for the Bucks versus Omega and Page then, right? Had to be 2020.
Yeah, probably. Let's see.
Because it had to be pre-COVID.
Yes, so it was.
Okay, so that's the one we need to look at.
Damn. Britt Baker did another pre-show tag team match against Joshi's on that one. Weird. Okay, yeah, that was the one. But that card was you got Jake Hager versus Dustin Rhodes, Darby versus Sammy. Then you had the tag match that went 30 minutes. That was the best match on the card. Nyla Rose versus Statlander for the title. MJF versus Cody. Pac and Orange Cassidy, which was also good.
Yeah, Pac and Orange Cassidy was good, and then MJF, that's when he beat Cody and he couldn't challenge for the world title anymore, correct?
Yeah, and then Moxley versus Jericho was the main.
When Moxley won the title.
When Moxley won the title, yeah.
Okay. That pay-per-view was pretty good, and I ain't gonna lie, but I don't think it's better than the one we just watched.
I don't think so either. I think this one has 3 like easy 5-star matches plus, and that's the difference.
All right. So A+ from you then too as well.
Yep.
All right. So A+ for Revolution for both of us.
Hey guys, did you like that video? If so, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also catch full episodes of the MonsterCast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And you can also catch us live every Sunday on Twitch. All links in the description below, along with some sweet merch from yours truly, the MonsterCast. Deuces.